Welcome to the conversation. I'm JT.
And I'm Stanley.
Today, what we're talking about is internet privacy and how basically it does not exist. So, as a fun little challenge, me and Stanley have given ourselves a week or so that we were going through each other's social medias, and we had to find the goofiest, most embarrassing photo that we could find. And this is a younger Stanley.
And this is a younger JT.
There's a lot of great things going on in these photos. And this is just a goofy example of things that are just on social media that maybe we've kind of forgotten about, and they're just there. And even though these are like goofy examples, there are things that maybe like if you look deeper into other people's social medias that maybe they put out when they were in middle school or in high school that maybe they should not be there at all for multiple reasons.
And we've been talking about the counselors at Simmons Middle and how we had a conversation with them. Another thing they said that really stuck with us, they said just because a student sends one person they trust a picture of any kind, it doesn't mean that it's not going to get out to other people. And they said they continually hear students say, well, they promised they wouldn't send that picture out. And yet it goes on to 10s, to 20s, to 30 people that they know that have this picture that they really didn't want that person to share. So we really just encourage you to have conversations with your kids about that. And the dangers of sending anything out, it's really not private.
Yeah, and I would say the same rules apply to texting. If you're texting somebody else, you don't know, they could screen grab it, they could save it somehow, and they could send it out to everybody. So once you send something to somebody, you're done. You don't control the narrative of what is going to happen to that photo, what's going to happen to that text anymore. It could go out to anybody, and especially to people that you never wanted to see that to begin with. So you have to be careful when you send things out.
Yeah. And looking a little further into the future, we're finding more and more as we talk to people and we read about social media and internet privacy is that jobs are starting to, in the hiring process, whenever they get the resumes from a group of people, they are weeding people out before they ever make it to the interview process based solely on what people are finding on their social media pages and what they're finding about them on the internet. That's happening more and more. There are actually people who are paid to do this at larger companies. And so you don't want to give a job that's considering hiring you any reason to not bring you in for an interview.
And maybe jobs seem a little bit too far out for a lot of us if we have middle schoolers or maybe elementary schoolers with social media apps and things like that. But something to consider also is that colleges, universities, they are using social media as a way to weed people out of scholarship opportunities. They only have so much money that they can offer people. And if they see something on social media that might show that that person's not going to represent the university well, or they're not going to be the best student, whatever harsh judgment it is, they're willing to make that harsh judgment because they only have so much money to give out to begin with. So if people can make it easy for them, they're going to take the easy way out and choose not to give those people money.
Yep. So what can we do as families? What can we do as parents to help our kids and as families to hopefully make sure that some of this doesn't happen and that we don't run into that into the future? One of the things we found among a lot of different things we've looked at is a family social media covenant. And it's where a family sits down together and the parent and the students, they talk together and they say, these are the dangers of social media. And the parents say, these are the things I expect of you. And the students are able to express what they feel about social media. And together as a family, they form a covenant. And it says, as your parent, I promise I'll do this. And I will keep you safe. I'll give you guidelines. And as a student, I promise to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And then at the end, they sign that together. And so when situations come up, they can bring that covenant out. They can talk about it. We've posted one of these in a link in the description of this video below. It's just an example. I wouldn't use that specific one, but maybe you as a family could sit down, gear that towards your family, and you might find that this could be helpful with your family with dealing with social media.
Yeah, so if you have something that works well in your family, feel free to let us know what it is, whether like in a comment or any suggestions. We really want people to be able to comment with things that are working well in their family and any questions that you have about things that people are doing so that we can kind of work through this together and continue this conversation. So next week, we're going to be looking at one of the biggest questions I think all families have, all parents have, and that is, how do we keep up? It seems that our students have all these different apps, and they do all of these different things. So how on the world are we supposed to keep up with everything that's going on? So next week, we're going to be walking through some strategies that maybe you can have as parents to try our best to keep up and see what it is our kids are doing with social media and on their phones.
So join us next week as we continue the conversation. That was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. We could run through it again just to have two
was that
options.
long? It felt long.